Mac and John. We're wrapping up our NewFronts. We're about to leave for the flight home soon, but it's been an incredible 2 weeks.
And so what we want to take you through today is YouTube, Vice, Full Screen, and the Daily Mail, showing the presentation, as well as the IRB lunch. And probably YouTube to start off, like there's no doubt the size and scale of that company. Really interesting counterpoint to their ad product versus someone like Refinery29 or even BuzzFeed, because they own the distribution platform. It's just ease of planning, straight by the spots. We've got the audience across all the devices, the whole package.
Absolutely, yeah, and they had Toyota's CMO come onto stage and essentially talk about how he'd increase his budget 400% off a healthy base, as he would be clear to point out too.
Yeah.
Next was Vice. Vice was fascinating because of the Vice brand. So they had their CEO lie down on stage, recite poetry, and then join a punk band. So a typical Vice sales session, as you can imagine. Really impressive. I mean, they do have their finger on the pulse. They're expanding into traditional TV. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they are acutely aware of the reason that they exist. And it's interesting, you know, them and Refinery29 have a really, really clear cultural stake in the ground. And, you know, sort of thinking about, you know, news as a product can be incredibly generic and, you know, arguably not maybe where you'd be investing in such a content competitive space. But because they've got that lens, that cultural lens, it does create differentiation, even though they're going over sort of similar topics to what others would do. And they just nailed the vibe of Vice. Like there's no doubt that you were surrounded by, you know, some really cool people who work in Williamsburg and never go to Manhattan.
Yeah, no mention of audience technology, data, video content, what the product is, of course, because the product is Vice. It's the incredible brand they have, and they did a fantastic job of showing that.
And then we had Full Screen, which was, again, an interesting counterpoint to some of the BuzzFeed and Refinery29 stuff. They're basically a millennial talent network. It was also interesting from that perspective, because coming off the back of YouTube, you know, they've got the scale and they've got everything, they've got the entire audience there, right? And so when they were talking ad products at YouTube, it was really just buy the ad placements, just get it in. Whereas, you know, places like Refinery29 and Full Screen that have these talent networks as well, they have to start talking about, you know, quite even traditional TV products like sponsorship and integration, because they know that they don't own all the distribution, certainly not at any massive scale. So you have to be in the content.
Yeah, exactly. If your content is shown in someone else's feed, i.e. Facebook or YouTube, you can't sell the display around it, so the video is the only product you have, and that's what they focused on. And then we wrapped up the week with the Daily Mail. Daily Mail was great to see Piers Morgan open the session, nearly endorsed Donald Trump.
Call him the Donald.
The Donald.
Don't underestimate the Donald.
The Donald. But the Daily Mail was great to see. I mean, a traditional publisher that's rapidly adapted to the world of short social video, and they're understandably very proud of their global reach. And particularly, I think the work they're doing on integrating their video product into the surrounding news content. So they talked about only 1 in 4 views came to Daily Mail for celebrity or showbiz content. So they're still very proud of their news output. And incredibly too, large numbers going to the homepage. Really the only digital publisher who still talked about their owned asset.
Yeah, 46% of their traffic goes through the homepage, which was sort of an interesting counterpoint to, you know, the rest of the week, which is sort of suggesting that the homepage is reducing in significance because you're going straight through either, you know, Google AMP or through instant articles, and you're not going to the homepage and then to the article. I think as well, what was interesting about Daily Mail is because they have just huge reach, they've got quite simple ad products, and it very much mirrors what happens in you know, like print advertising. So, you know, very, very similar language. You know, you buy to get the position in the page, the context is your audience, and just sort of very simple, straightforward stuff to get high reach.
Absolutely. Well, that's a wrap up for video 2. We're about to head home, where we'll have a third video about what we've learned during the last 2 weeks and how we apply it to our day-to-day jobs.
Thanks.
See you soon.